Hello, Michelle here from the Secret Owl Society. I wanted to make a video showing you how I use the journal template in Notion. The first thing I want to point out is putting it in a place that is easy for you to find. So I have a daily journaling habit. So I have a little link right here that goes to my journal hub. And in this journal hub, I have specific journals for specific things, as well as a general journal that I fill out every day. I fill out the general one every day. I fill out the more specific things once in a while or for a specific time frame. So the shadow journal, I put it right here. So if you're wondering where to put the template after you download it to your Notion, put it where you do your journaling. Build yourself a little journal hub and have the links to all your different journals in that one page, because that's what would make Notion very disorganized for people, is they have pages all over the place and you need to be thinking in terms of indexes. So right now we're basically in my journal index. I have one page for all my journals. They're all titled correctly. I can see what I need to see, go to where I need to go. Super easy. So I will just go to that specific journal that I'm sending out, and we have our intentions. You can just fill in the information, etc., etc. And then as you complete each entry, you would check it off. And then here are the different prompts for the different days. I'll go through that in a second. I want to point out that I have this section for questions to ask Notion AI. So if you're using Notion AI, it can help take your journal to the next level. And then at the end, you would just record your reflections. How am I feeling now? Blah, blah, blah. And so I want to give an example of the Notion AI, because this has really helped me take my journals to the next level. So for instance, let's say you want a deeper self-reflection moment with your journal. Let's pull out one of these. What follow-up questions? Let's pull this one out. You could also make up your own. But let's say that on day 2, you fill this out. I'm going to have AI fill this out because I'm not going to fill this out with my own personal stuff. Fill this out. So pretend that you're the one that filled this out with your own stuff. And now you can hide names, use different things for different, if you don't want to give it the hardcore truth about your situation, you can switch things out with different names and different abbreviations if you want, if that makes you more comfortable, depending on what type of journaling you're doing. But let's say you put in the entry, you can now highlight it and then ask AI, and let's put in that little prompt. What follow-up questions would help me explore my response to today's prompt more thoroughly? And then you would add that. And so this would take it to the next level where you can literally start talking to your own journal. And so it's giving you all this extra information based on your reflection. Here's some follow-up questions. How do these bottled emotions typically manifest in your body? Where do you physically feel them? And then you can just type in your answer, and that would take it to the next level. So that is how I've been using journaling in such a more helpful way. Even something as simple as going into my little daily journal. This is something I do every single day. And I love doing this because it is how I've been able to no longer feel like, wow, I did all this stuff and I had such a busy week, but I can't remember what I did. What did I even do? I don't even know anymore. I never feel that way anymore because of this little thing that I do every single day. I come into this page, I click on this little button, and it spits out these emojis, and each of these emojis represent the different areas of life for me. And I will write down one thing that happened or one thing I did for each area of life. So I'll record, how did I fill my bucket in my business, in my creativity, in my home, in my health? Like, what did I do for myself to meet my own needs in each and every area of my life, each and every day, no matter how big or small? And then over time, you have day after day after day of this data. And now you can talk to your journal and be like, okay, what are the top 3 highlights from the last 7 days, and then it will spit those out for you. And I can take that and I can add that to my weekly review. Or I can say, can you look over the last 3 months of entries and tell me what patterns do you notice in my behavior? Where can I improve? And it will just give you some information about that. And some people will say, well, I don't want AI to replace my critical thinking. I literally feel like I have been critical thinking times 10 now that I have this assistant helping me retrieve the data out of hundreds of entries that I would not have the time to physically sit down and do manually. So now I can benefit from my journaling so much more than when I was just, manually dumping information out, but not having an effective way to retrieve the insights of all of that information. So this is making it easier for me to really think more on what's actually going on with me, what I'm actually doing, where I'm actually going. And that has been so helpful with improving my relationship with myself, improving how I've been able to course correct and make little adjustments and pivots so much sooner with so much more insight and clarity because of how I've been doing this journaling. There's always going to be benefit in physically writing things down, physically, using your hand to write down your thoughts. That will always hold a place in my world. I still do that, but this holds in a different level of helpfulness in its own way. And so that is something I wanted to point out with whether you're using the shadow journal or you're creating your own little journal system. That is how I've been using journaling in Notion to really integrate into how I reflect on what I'm doing, how I reflect on where I'm going. And the journaling has been just as important as keeping track of tasks, projects, habits, routines. The journaling is what makes it all tie together, because then I can actually reflect at the end of every day what even happened, and then go into it after a week, a month, a year, and pull out insights that I just wouldn't be able to pull out without the help of Notion AI. So yeah, I just wanted to point all of that out to you. If you are watching this video on YouTube and you want this template for the shadow journal, I'll put the link below and you can just start playing around with that, and it can give you ideas for other journals you can probably make for yourself. And that's it. Thanks for watching the video. Bye. I almost forgot to mention that if you are curious about how I use Notion, if you want to learn more, I am opening a program called Sacred Systems. Pre-sale enrollment is open now. This is the Notion solution for sovereign women. It is not just about how to be more productive, how to get things done. This is about how to create a system that honors who you are in every single area of your life and gives you the support you need to meet your own needs each and every day without it feeling like a struggle, without it feeling like a second thought. I've developed this for myself over the course of the last 2 years. It's been an amazing, beautiful journey of really coming home to myself and deepening my relationship with myself using Notion, using systems. And I'm finally in a place where I can share it with you. So if you want to know more about it, I'll put the link to this page below. I start the live round in a couple weeks, and maybe I will see you there. Thanks for watching.